would like to, yeah, Jai Shri Mataji to everybody. This meeting has been called jointly by Ajit Bhaiya, myself, to put together our team from India and the US. As part of an ongoing work which IAHF, you know what it means, is Immaculate Ideal Human Foundation, is been doing since the last 8.5, 9 years in India. And by Mother's grace and her blessings, we've had two films which are which are done fairly well as far as their purpose is concerned. And a lot of people have joined Sahaj Yoga. Sahaj Yoga has been spread by the films, and now we are at a brink of exploding into better long-term proposal of putting Sahaj Yoga on a platform of the OTT as well as the TV series, which was originally uh, expressed by Yogi Mahajan ji from Pune, that Shrimata ji in one of his dreams wanted that this should be done by us, and it should be uh, controlled or managed at my end. So we reached two sort of conclusions this time after completing so many years of running the NGO in India, that raising funds in India has been a big challenge. So these 8, 9 years have shown me that that could not be something very effective, because most of the funds have come from you people who are there today, or through your help, or people overseas. And we don't have the wherewithal to arrange that in India, because they don't give us this FCRA license easily. And the another issue I faced was that um, I had been solo managing this NGO. There has been hardly anybody working uh, in the management of the NGO. Of course, the work of the NGO has not suffered, and it's done its bit. So now we want this to continue on a long-term basis. And with my age catching up, I was thinking that we should have a setup in the US. Ajit ji had agreed that we should have probably a non-profit in which we could have the America can play that role which Mothers has said in that speech, for the whole world to reach out her message. So America can be the source, and that's where the fund collection can happen through your non-profit. And our experience can be translated into putting a team together, working on the content, and making that content available in the OTT platform, which is the web series or the tele-series that we have started working on since last 5, 6 months. So now to give that push, we need funds, and we have don't ha unfortunately could not accumulate enough funds with both the movies. In fact, most of my own savings have gone in, and it's good in a way. It's gone for Mother's work, because that's what Mother you did it with in front of me. She put in all her money, and that's how Sergio has spread. So we have to put in, and people here have been giving a lot also for the Mahalakshmi Path. So I can see that we have the potential, but we have to raise this potential to a next higher bar. But first, having a setup in the US. So let's discuss this, that whether we can have that setup, how we are going to do it, who is going to take care of it. And as far as the Indian side is concerned, my NGO will not be the producer anymore. It will be the people who have been working for the films. These creators who are like direction or editing and story writing and everything. We have that whole team with us, but we will expand it worldwide so that this becomes a collective thing. Now, no longer controlled by one man, that is me, but it should be by my idea and my mind. My experience will go all into it, but I really want now this to become a collective thing. Now we can have different collectives involved in the work of this series, and then they can create, and then they can have their own small little production house where the money can be funded, and we can control it from our team in India, which will be managed by Aparna at my end. She's young, dynamic, and a great writer. She's already working on this web series solo-handed, and I think she's also involved a few writers. And Yogi Mahajan ji will, of course, spearhead this along with my inputs as much as I can do till we are alive. So this is my submission and the opening submission for this meeting. And I shall leave it open for all of you that how can we do that in America, and how does this relationship actually put the money into the hands of the people who make it through their own production units, and then we will put it up on the OTT as a joint project, as a joint venture. So how this can all be put together, Tejwani ji could guide us on a global level. First, the startup in America, then how do we work through with India, both in terms of um, financial arrangements between the source and the working, and then the other parts of controls and you know so please, I leave this meeting open, and let's hope that this can lead to further meetings that we can close and conclude what we are meeting today for. So, Ajit ji, आप कुछ बोलिए, सुभाष जी, and then Tejwani sir.
I think first, I think we should get the non-profit established. For
Yeah.
that, there are certain inputs that are needed. So somebody needs to draft those, and then we can use Tejwani ji's experience to get that set up. And then we can do the outreach program. Subhash Bhaiya, anything from your side?
Yeah. I think that setting up should not take a much of time. I think, uh, but how are we trying to like and outreach program also we need to do in phases and stuff that is also can be laid out. But how these funds will be used in India? How like I have a question. What is the strategy we have to because that is required when we create this that these funds how we will be transferring and how we are supporting legally those kind of legal things if there are any how are because within our team is there any legal person to also guide us uh, uh, I think there may be some rules like last year there was a rule for non-citizens to send money to abroad or something there is some taxation and other things but yeah, this production house is this like we will have a production house here also, and then they will be internally doing it, or we have to do it. So some questions to answer the basic framework, and then I think we can kickstart how we want to do it.
Okay, I'll partly answer your question and I'll leave it to Tejwani ji to come in. Whereas I can see your last part, the production house. Earlier, the production house was IAHF, which was an NGO in India. So it was simple that we could just transfer the funds from one non-profit to the NGO. But that facility right now we are not able to get from the government is allowing any official transfer from any entity other than the way the money was being transferred onto my personal, and then I was putting it in the NGO. So that route doesn't seem to be working on a large scale. Now it was on a small scale. We managed it for one or two movies. So here I have a feeling that the production house would be identified by the people who work on the, let's say, a particular episode. So let's say we have our own team in India, so there will be a production house like a uh, who will be formed here, and that name and that entity will be told to you that this is their budget, this is the project, and you could have a review meeting on that, and then you can say, okay, this fund can now be given for the production of the first series or the pre-production costs. Initially, we'll do for preparing and everything. There's a cost also. So that is a seed capital required to kickstart the whole work, and then the production company can take for on a series basis. So series to series, we will say a series has, let's say, 5 episodes or 6 episodes or 10 episodes. So all that will be budgeted episode wise by that production house and given to your non-profit, and then you could have an agreement between yourselves, and then you transfer the funds directly to them, and then they start the work. And then we will have a back end arrangement of marketing and up, uploading into the TV channel or wherever the marketing effort will go side by side, so that as we are producing, let's say we are producing a trailer, then we're producing episode one. So we'll go slowly, 2 to 3 months it may take to do each episode. And then we will start marketing it on the side. So there will be costs for marketing, there will be costs for people who will be associated with those channels, and how we going to, so it's going to be a chain of events which will lead to the movie getting onto an OTT. And then from the OTT, we will have some marketing arrangements that the funds can come back from the showing of the film. Whether you want it to be shown for free and you want only the funds to go for disbursement and no returns, that can be worked out. Some returns could also come, which could add as seed capital for the next project. And then you can supplement it with if more money is required as per the budget. So this is what I can see, the flow of funds, how this can happen. But I think here I need Tejwani ji to help us start the process in America and then tell us a way how we can work this out in this way. Because my NGO will not be a production house because I'm not able to manage it. So IIHF on its own can stay as an entity without getting involved in any profit-making business or film-making business. Because then otherwise this management itself is costing me a lot of time and money, which I'm unable to afford at this moment. So I'm going to use this NGO, which is existing for the last 8-9 years, IAHF, only for the purposes of providing seed capital for the early part of the movie, which we are working on right now. So right now I am funding it through my little sources where you people are helping me already. But that is only going to be just a small stopgap before you start your non-profit there and use that as a source. Eventually, I need to withdraw. Maybe now in few months or a year, I need to totally withdraw from being that seed capital funder. It will come directly from your source to the production house. And the production house need not do all the episodes. There could be several production houses based in different parts of the world where we will ask them to produce this content depending on whether the content is relevant to that country or to that group of creative Sahayogis who will make this web series. So, and Yogi ji and we will all sort of work in a way that everybody is aligned to the main subject where we are getting at. So we can discuss the project on its own merit maybe later. Let's figure out how this process is going to happen. So Tejwani ji, please step in and sir, give us your view and how you could help us. Thank you.
Yeah. Jai Shri Mataji to all.
Deshmukh.
So, I'll just talk more technical on this. So we have, a kind of agreement between India and USA, wherein the USA production house or an entity or an NGO which is set up in USA can produce or even uh, put in the relevant resources for any kind of a cinematography films. So they can produce a film, and in turn, if the production house which is set up in US, they can always hire people from India, as a director, editor, music, singers, etc., to whom this production house can remit the funds directly. But this production house cannot remit fund to another NGO in India as of now. The agreement states, unless that Indian NGO has the foreign contribution registration certificate, which Sanjay ji referred, FCRA. But they can always hire, different professionals and pay them directly for the web series or the films or the short series. So this is number one. So technically, this is how it is met. Of course, in terms of documentations, agreements, in terms of the process flow, those things are to be drafted and they have to be kept in place so that as and when required, we are able to justify before the revenue authorities that the process is above the board and it is all from country outside India who are doing the activity. So this is number one. Number two, as Sanjay ji mentioned, that Indian NGO IIHF may or may not be in existence in the next fiscal year. Indian fiscal year starts from April, and to which he's right, because as currently he is the only one who is handling this. And again, a lot of compliances, lot of statutory obligations are there. So this idea was always there that once he's able to maybe put in the best out of his age and savings, then the Indian NGO could be wound up, and he will always be there, as he mentioned, as a maybe support or a technical person who could always help us in identifying the right people, maybe also putting in the technical inputs from his side, and for which, if all of us agree, he can always be paid because he becomes a technical or a professional person. And so this is how, technically and currently the India and US agreement talks. So this is my initial input. Yeah. Subhashi.
Yes, sir. So you are saying that we cannot have NGO to NGO transfer. We should do payments to the entities there and maintain all the documentation here. And whenever the legal parties want to audit it, we should able to support them in USA.
Correct, correct, correct. We can always do it NGO to NGO, but Indian NGO as of now is not registered under FCRA, the Foreign Contribution Registration Act. So therefore, NGO to NGO funds can't move.
Mhm.
But
Is it
as a
registered?
professional, if I'm providing legal accounting services, I can always invoice you. Sanjay ji is providing some technical inputs, he can always invoice you. So that is possible. But if the NGO in India, IIHF, as they are not FCRA registered, they cannot get funds.
Okay. So in that case, we should have an estimate, or like, because it's a invoice-based payment. So maybe the agreement will say that, okay, this production house will do monthly invoicing or yearly invoicing, and we should give a pro forma invoice approved, or all those things,
Yeah,
legal and things, and then
right.
pay as per the invoice, and should have that within 35 days, 45 days, whatever payment methods are.
Yeah, so India allows 45 days, up to 45 days. Yeah.
Okay. So who will be the US CA person here?
Yeah, that we need to identify somebody who could take care of the registration, which is not very difficult in US, everything being online, but a local person for maintaining the books of accounts and compliances and audit would be required in US.
Bhaiya, do
If
we
you already
have,
have some,
Bhaiya, do you know of any Sahjogi who is a CA in our
Like, we give
collective?
our personal CAs to is a person based in Detroit and a person based in California, but yeah, we never discussed personally. We file our personal taxes through that person or charity or entity, whatever it is. But I never discussed who is supporting for a cost like this. Like if you talk about the NGO, what we have, VND here, it is also given to some other firm outside, and they pay fees to them. It's not done by any yogis internally. Only the finance coordinator is kind of checking the payments in the donation portal, and then he's taking out the money. So there's people authority for the banks, but not for the books. Books are always given to other firms.
So you probably are the best person to identify whoever you think is suitable.
Yeah.
Then you
So
can
I think we
suggest.
should do our planning like, okay, like if you do a series of 12 series, like what is the wish we have, or what is the desire we have, and how much money we need to raise, and for that money transfer, how much a CA will cost. I think FCRA registration, is it like it's a hard thing for FCRA registration in India, so that the we don't have the financial burden. It will go for NGO to NGO, and they will be able to better plan because the resource may be cheap in India or something.
See, FCRA registration is not difficult, but of late, the last few years, the revenue authorities found that there are many dummy NGOs, who are just getting the foreign funds and not really utilizing it for the purposes. So a lot of restrictions have now been put, a lot of due diligences, a lot of validations and verifications are happening. And I think Sanjay ji can put in few words because I think twice or thrice we have applied but not been very successful. Sanjay ji.
Yeah, that's true. In the last, since 2020, it's now the sixth year, and we have applied twice and we have not found their approval.
Hmm.
So it's still futile exercise. If in 6 years we couldn't manage, I don't know what we could manage now, especially now at the exit stage. I mean, I was younger and more bolder and working harder, but as time is passing by, I'm not able to sustain that kind of a pressure of
Hmm.
even if I get an FCRA, I won't be able to do the compliances at this stage. So I think it's a non-starter as far as my NGO is concerned, unless this NGO is taken over by people who are young and then they can manage it. And that's another story we will have to see over time if Tejwani ji and I can figure out something locally. But we should keep that in the back burner for the time being and think on those other lines that we're already talking about for the, direct funding, as he said, to start with the early part of the projects. Then we can see how things go in the future.
Yeah, right.
Right, Tejwani sir?
You're right. Yeah.
Vajpayee, the thought was that we can form similar NGOs in other key countries to collectively raise the fund for this initiative, which has been asked
Yeah.
for by Shrimata ji.
But like, I just want to understand one more, Tejwani ji. Creating a NGO or creating a LLC is better here. NGO can, like, it's good for people contribution and they get some rebate back as a NGO contribution. They get some things, but creating an LLC, is that an easy way because it involves in lot of no liabilities, and these funds whatever we collect, maybe they will pay some percentage of uh, extra money to transfer also because we are giving receipt and other things. Sahajog is anyway giving donation if they give extra fees also. I don't think here raising money on with the fee is a problem, but on less on account side, what will work well? The books maintenance and part. NGO, because it's a non this thing, there's more liability for making compliance, or LLC, because LLC is simpler, I think, here in USA.
Yeah. So you're right, actually, because we see a lot of LLCs only as production houses. So that's very, very common, not only in US, even in other Western countries as well. Because as you rightly pointed out, it's very, very simple to, number one, form an LLC and do this as an activity. Of course, it would be referred to as a commercial activity, which is okay because we also need to at least have some markup, some addition, some uh, uh, profit. Okay, may not be a right word, but yes, because otherwise we really cannot survive for our next venture. So LLC that way is fine, and uh, if the income exceeds, then of course there would be some taxes payable, which again, according to me, is pretty okay. But the LLC would be more like a commercial venture. Even in US, within LLCs, we can have a non-commercial ventures as well. Like in India, we have. In India, again, we have two options. We form an NGO, one, or we form a LLP. We call it LLP with no profit objectives, but which is not very popular in India. But in other countries, it is quite popular, and I'm very, very okay with having an LLC also. But the challenges are, from an LLC perspective, getting the contributions from the people, from an accounting perspective, how would they be contributing? What kind of invoice would you be raising? And what kind of services would the contributors be showing? That is one. And in terms of compliances, again, when we are filing the returns within the US, those things needs to be explained. Initial, if it is, amount which is not exceeding a certain limit, LLC is okay. But NGO is something which actually talks about social awareness programs, movies, web series, books, any kind of presentations. So, and they are also, the persons who are contributing, they are more safe in terms of contributing. The NGO need not be sharing any kind of an invoice with them, except as and when they receive, they issue the receipt to them so that the contributor gets some kind of a rebate, as we have in India. So, and bookkeeping, accounting compliances are little simpler in the sense maintaining. Otherwise, filing is again for NGO is a very detailed filing in US as well. So this is how the difference is between NGO and LLC. NGO, you don't get any problems in, if people are contributing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's a commercial, what is the like? I don't know. Maybe Ajit Bhaiya, if people are contributing a large fund, and if you are saying that the profit is less, but it is a something like NGO is a better option, but the booking is, I think, is it's very rigid. I think LLC, I think it's more of showing there is no profit. Everything is funded, and maybe it takes some time at making it easier. But yeah, some person we should onboard and see how what it can be done best.
So I will just explain the meaning of commercial as well because I think it's very important. NGO doesn't mean that you earn no profit. So that may or may not be possible. At times we may be getting more contribution than the spendings. So in India, up to if you're spending up to 85% of what you have received, that is called as the no profit organization. Because we give the commitment in the tax filings that remaining 15% would still be utilized for the objectives of the NGO. It will not be distributed to the uh, trustees of the NGO. So that's the only commitment. But anything where the spending is less than 85% due to any reason, we have to file, so I'm talking purely from India. We have to still file an application with the tax department that, okay, our spending is just 70%, but we commit that the remaining 30% we are going to spend in next 3 years. So this is how India works. And I think almost on the same lines, US should have some kind of limits to which and up to what extent you can spend and what amount you can retain for the future purposes. The only difference in NGO is that the profits cannot be distributed to the trustees, which distinguishes it from the LLCs. So I think the worldwide law is more or less same except for these amounts.
Okay, nice. And Sanjay Bhaiya, and like if you're trying to put a series of 12 or like a once in a month episode also, uh, what is the ballpark figure to begin with? Uh, just to understand one series, and then we can scale up on the other things.
Uh, See, so this is a little tried out through movies that I have some idea of what you could be spending on a one series. So depends on the scale and the use of those expensive tools for good cinema and the hiring of actors. Because you see, when we are doing a cinema type of a presentation, there is a huge cost involved. And so everybody gets paid, and there is a budget that is created, and then a budget has to be fulfilled in that fashion that a movie is made in advance quite a bit. So I think per episode, I would have pitched it as technically very superior at about 50 lakhs per episode. But scaling down, you can scale it down to 20 lakhs less, maybe 30. And if we keep a ballpark figure higher and we can spend lower, which will save us money, we will be doing that. So our idea is that to keep the cost low, there are a lot of people who want to do work free for Mother, but at the same time, the technical expertise is of such great value that I would say even if Mother was there, she would have liked them to be paid something, like what she would always recommended, that all artists should be well compensated. So considering that, and if we are paying total professionals, I would say pit it at 50 lakhs. But if we are able to save money, we could bring it down to about 30 lakhs. We'll be lucky if we can do it in 20, 25 lakhs. It all depends on the scale each episode may require. Some episodes may require more VFX and more technical effects to, make an impact especially when we are dealing with the divine power. So at that time, we may need our costs may escalate to even 60 or stay at 50. But if there are certain episodes where just a story is being told and actors are involved, we could do it in 20 or 25. So I would say an averaging out to 40, 50 should be a ballpark figure. That is lakhs of rupees, what I'm talking of per episode. So you would say if a season is of 10 episodes on an average, you're talking of how much? 2.5 CR, which was actually the cost that my second movie was spent on. Having known that my budget went up was only 1.2 CR, we landed up spending double because I wasn't aware of filmmaking as such that what all involves in it. So there is a continuous marketing that keeps happening, which we didn't realize. And they said that marketing itself and the sale and the exhibition part takes as much as the production cost. So if we had a budget of 1.2 CR initially for making Mahalakshmi Path, we landed up spending more than 2 CR. And that extra money, unfortunately, I had to pitch in from my own savings, which I have not recovered a good part of it even till now. So that is another part for me, which is overbearing because I'm a retired now. Totally, I have no source of income. So if I've actually siphoned out all my money for this project. So here I am now got all my knowledge only and my time as much as needed, but I'm not able to sustain the existence of this NGO the way things work in filmmaking. That's why I came up with this proposal that let's make it very collective. Let it come from the land of Lord Krishna. The announcement, and the investment comes from there. And then the whole world can join and pitch in with their creative talent. And we'll be sitting there. So we are working on this project, which comes from the book which Yogi Mahajan has written. It's called The 10th Incarnation. And I've got Aparna here to just give you an insight of the project where she has already, I think, created
Jeshimata everyone.
6 episodes worth of
6
content.
episodes
which-
per chapter.
Yes,
That
please.
is what is
Aparna,
coming.
you can pitch in a bit.
Now, one thing which I am asking is, we cannot only depend, why should we only depend on donations and funds? Why can't we not pitch to producers who are multi-billionaires in the US? We should be having that kind of quality when making 2 3 episodes, okay, because unless 2 3 episodes are absolutely stellar and commercial, looks commercial. By looks commercial, obviously I don't mean the typical run of the mill Bollywood commercial, of course not, we can't do that because it's Shrimataji's work after all. But why okay, NGO is fine, or a company is fine, but why are we not looking at doing a proper pitching to the producers in US or even in India? ये करने में क्या होता है? Is anyone having any idea? Is it a problem?
No. 1 minute. Can I answer you, Aparna, here? I'm
Yeah.
sure others would have better answers. My say is that this is a project. So a project can have a collaborator or it can have a co-producer. So let's say our US entity is going to give a seed capital for the whole project, right? They may be able to fund the entire project or produce the whole project. It all depends on their capability to accumulate funds at a particular point of time when you are ready to shoot or you're ready to start a series. You'll say, okay, this is my budget. I need this money by this and this time. Now they have an entity they are trying to form. Right now, this is what we are discussing. Now, in that entity, if they are able to, let's say, okay, we can provide you right now only so much fund. So after this may take some time. Okay. So we have to give them that kind of a leeway that they have to feel comfortable how they can manage it at ease at their level. There's going to be no pressure point there. So then what happens for us is where is the pressure point? The pressure point is okay, when are we going to start the project? So at that time, we will have to invite collaborators. We will have to invite producers. They can come from the US. Of course, they can make efforts over there and find co-producers over there for the project, but they will need a project presenter. The project will have to be properly prepared and presented over there. Similarly, here, Mr. Tejwani also has some resources here where he can get us co-producers, co-investors, these kind of people who actually lend funds for these projects. But at that time, then the ownership gets transferred partly or wholly to those who put in more money. So if you want to keep the ownership with you for all your content, then it's better to own the entire thing and have the whole thing funded by yourself. Otherwise, if it's part funded, then we have to sort of have a little leeway of making them co-owners or part owners or full owners. Means that full owners can be that we are just producing, we are putting the matter out as a message of Shri Mataji for the whole world, and somebody who has more money then manages it in his style because it is his money. So, then it may be a rights issue. So we have to think of all those things, when you ask for producers from outside, people from outside to put the money, you also have to think of parting the rights, the ownership rights of your content, which we can't. At this moment, I don't think we should think of doing that. But if we can reach that point, ki we are actually doing so well with our series that at some later point, we won't mind कि अब तो चढ़ गया है, it's gone on the OTT and it's doing overwhelming work for mother's work. So let people come and take part in it and take the content if they want to, because our aim is not to make money. Our aim is to continuously keep making these kind of series, not today, not in the next 6 months, but over the next couple of years or maybe decades. Even if you and I are not there, there should be teams working all across the world, adding one episode to the next one. So therefore, we should have a, a we should have a think tank which works in cohesion with the entire world. This should be a collective effort. And my idea was that we are just a focal point here today in India with two movies and a concept of Yogi's books, and Yogi and myself being there to put the inputs where Shri Mataji trusts us to do. And it's a बीज बो रहे हैं हम लोग खाली बीज बो रहे हैं. After that, mother is there to look after us. See, every time I did a project, I was nobody, but mother came and helped us in many ways. So I'm sure she'll find a way for things to move in the right direction. All we have to do is do our efforts to get this started. I hope you got my answer, Aparna.
Yeah.
And not only that, I think somebody who is going to put in a substantial amount of capital and who is not aligned with the principles of Sahaj Yoga would want to have say in the content or the direction it is taking. And I think you want to maintain the purity of the mother's message in anything that we put out, and you don't want to lose control over the content or its direction because of commercial interests. So I'm not saying that the commercial part should not be done, but we should at least kickstart it so that it gets some nice eyeballs and some name there. We already have the president of the movies earlier, and then once the direction is set, then maybe there may be people who may be interested in doing uh, like a broader human elevation kind of work and maybe willing to contribute capital to it without altering mother's message.
Great. I can feel the Sastar now. Perfect.
In fact, we have two examples. Recently in India also, we approached the two so-called people, two teams. But again, we were stuck up as they wanted the entire IP to be transferred to them for the two movies that have already been, Sanjay ji has already done. So again, the point was whether to transfer the IPs to them or not. So I think point very well put in by Sanjay ji and as agreed by Ajit ji, that IP initially we have to be very, very thoughtful.
Correct.
I have, while we are discussing, it came to my mind that can we invite the yogis who have the relevant skill to be part of these initiatives? Uh, it's so one of the example it came to us is I think there is one student come who got recently married. His name is Nepal, based of California, and he's an associate director for one of the companies. And short movies he produces, and they're being showed in the Kanajori and other part. So I think it allows us to think little bigger picture, like what Sanjay is telling, that if we are trying to bow a seed, then why don't we pull the interest from like the people who are in the field, who know the space, and they can produce this series. Maybe one episode in India, then second episode, like it can be like one episode with full content, like maybe not like an Indian episodes where there's a series after series, like 300 episode with the same characters. It can be a short 30-40 minutes where on OTT every episode can be a different this thing, and it can be filled by them, and some person like Sanjay ji and whoever who becomes the board can go through the movies and say what is the quality it has, and do you want to project as part of this group, uh, because we should have a banner name or whatever the terminology we have to use with the OTT. And that way we can encourage people to produce, and if the scripts and other things are made, I think, and the people who have the talent can make as per their and this thing, and it will reduce the cost as well as it will help in different area of thinking and filming and things to come while we start our projects also. But if you want to continuously run, I think we need more people and more uh, ideas and more production houses across to bring their contribution as well.
Yeah, I fully endorse your point, sir. On the macro level, this is what should happen. But at the right now, at the mini level where we are just in the formative stage, we are following a script right now. So they will have to, whosoever joins even today would have to align to that script and see what is his contribution, even if he wants to make an episode. He is a person from the industry and who's also into filmmaking and aligned with Sahaj Yoga and Shrimataji. That would be wonderful. I always dreamt that in my life. And in a mini level, in a small way, I did that in India. So how we made the two movies was that we actually involved people who were already professionals in this field, who was a director who's a Sahjogi, a cinematographer who was a Sahjogi, and they were good Sahjogis. I mean, today everybody is a Sahjogi, but you have to be people who really practice Sahaj Yoga, and they have surrendered to Shri Mataji very much. And they formed a part of my team always. They were my core team. And that's how these films actually got the nourishment of professional skill from such people. So I had this in a mini way in my two movies, but I am hoping that this time when the web series is going to get started from us in India, we will have a few episodes to kickstart the whole concept, the whole idea, the whole storyline. And then we would like people to get aligned to it, because as the series progresses, it will take on that storyline to a certain peak, and then maybe go ahead with more storylines as seasons to seasons go by. So it's not that we control it from the beginning until the end, but we will kickstart at least first series so that people know where to align and what kind of storyline are we looking at. So that's another topic of discussion. What is the storyline going to be, which I have already initiated in my group. So that's how Aparna has now started working on it, and our group is writing. But we can increase the participation of the storyliners also in our group at this stage, so that their contribution can start coming in the writing part straight away, so that when it comes to the making part, they know that they are ready to make their part, you know. So I'm open to that idea even today. But even if it doesn't happen, we will have at least one season created, so that it gives an idea to others to come in, and then they can make their own production if they like. They can just pick up the story and they can say, okay, I am a filmmaker here, and these are my credentials, and this is what I have done, and I can surely align my story, my production according to what you're doing. So unless we have shown something to him, I don't think he will really realize what we are really getting into, unless he joins our story team right now. So I'm open to that.
So I want to tell you something. Right now we are working on two projects. Like we can start, for example, what Sanjay ji said, we are working on Yogi Mahajan's 3 volumes, which is the 10th incarnation, and 2 more volumes as a series. So as we already know that his narration, so Yogi ji's narration is in such a manner that we can actually turn it into a screenplay, and it's coming out very well, because that is what I saw and I told Sanjay ji ki ye bilkul acha hai. So the 10th incarnation and all will be on Shrimata ji. And parallelly, after 8 to 10 or 1 year, we will start what you are saying. Everyone, each and every country, each and every state of India, each and every country can contribute, is the miracle stories. That would be very good if the Chinese collective come out with their miracle stories, Indian collective come with theirs, US, Canada, whatever we know. So let the world see how it changed their lives. So that way we can obviously form a kind of we can give them, this should be the bolte na dimensions, sound and all that. We can make a template ki this is the thing, 30 minutes ka minimum karo, miracle do, and it should pass our this thing, whatever we will set a set of the protocols or whatever. And obviously we will also help them out, because see, this is one collective effort, and your idea is absolutely brilliant when you were saying that. मेरे को तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, because this is how we will actually bring them all together. The enthusiasm which is totally lacking in Sahaj Yoga right now. Everyone has done so many things, but we are not aware of it. Like I am doing I am 50 plus, I am using your whatever little knowledge I have of my professional knowledge of computers, उससे मैं कुछ भी कर रही हूँ. But I just recently came to know that there are Yuva Shaktis who are making stellar 3D animations, Hanuman Chalisa and all, and I was like, what the, I'm not even aware of that. So obviously, see, it's all happening, but we are not together.
Align.
If we are not together, the team, what Shrimata ji had said always, कि सहज योगा is a teamwork. वो टीम तो हमने बनाया ही नहीं ना. इंडिया में तो you know that the team बहुत ही भयंकर है. इंडिया का भी टीम से काम ही नहीं कर सका, लेकिन US and all, being Vishuddhi Chakra and all, and Krishna who brings about teamwork. And सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि film making basically is the greatest example of teamwork, because वहां पे जो एक चाय वाला है और एक वो तो होता है ना जो ऐसे करता है start action, from there that person to the actor to the producer, everyone is very well aware of आज के दिन क्या shooting होना है, कितने लोग आएंगे, कितना खाना है. Look at that is teamwork. तो जो डेली बेसिस में इतना इतना डीप टीम वर्क करते हैं, वो ही टीम वर्क को ऊपर ले जा सकते हैं. आई फील दैट because after I could not personally be there during the shooting, but I used to be very updated by, I used to see इतना deep teamwork film making में होता है. And if we can get that and that infection worldwide, then Sahaj Yogis will actually come together. This will be a basically a win-win situation, which Subhash ji just said. It's actually a win-win situation for Sahaj Yoga, not just an NGO. एक्चुअली हमारा मकसद भी तो यही है ना, ब्रिंग पीपल टुगेदर एंड लेट पीपल नो बॉस व्हाट इज सहज योगा, हु हैज कम एंड गॉन एंड यू आर नॉट इवन अवेयर ऑफ इट. यही तो बताना है हमको.
Great.
दैट्स
Well
इट.
said, Aparna.
Just going,
Yes, sir.
sorry, out of the
Yeah.
this thing, and I was just remembering about almost now it's 30 years. And please excuse me. This was about Shirdi ke Sainath in Shirdi. Somebody, somebody like Sanjay ji, he thought of making a, kind of a tele series. So tele series is what, which runs for 100 episodes or more. Now, of course, we have web series. So somebody like him, on a very low budget, but person with maybe whatever experiences he had. So he made that that teleseries of around 70 episodes. So that was a series which got attention. The Shirdi got the attention, the place got the attention. Then a filmmaker, he approached that gentleman that why don't we elevate it to a next level? Then they made a movie. And Sanjay ji would remember Hema Malini, Manoj Kumar, they were part of that. So from what Subhashi said, that was a starting point. And now, again, the web series has gone to, in last 30 years, so many seasons have come. And a collective. It is not about one production house, it is multiple production house, multiple people who are putting in their experiences, their miracles, and the stories are getting created. So maybe that could not that Saj Yoga should be taking an inspiration, but yeah, these things have happened in the past. And if we really put in the right efforts, and we are at a much, much elevated, what Sri Mataji has given us is just that we can't get anywhere else. So if the efforts could be right, and we could really think through, from the perspective of spreading Saj Yoga, this is a wonderful idea, Subhashi, uh, that we can do. But we have to start at least.
Yeah.
That's where the point of importance
शिरडी
is.
शिरडी साईनाथ तो फिर भी वन ऑफ द 10 प्राइमोर्डियल गुरुज हैं हमारे
Yeah,
बॉलीवुड
yeah,
के चलते. आई मीन द इफेक्ट ऑफ सिनेमा इज सच दैट संतोषी माँ, जय संतोषी माँ created a deity out of silver screen. Imagine
yeah,
the power of the silver screen. So
yeah,
यही पावर हमको लाना है एंड पेश करना है लोगों को, एंड वेरी इफेक्टिवली, वेरी कॉर्पोरेट है. बहुत बहुत कुछ देखती हूँ मैं आजकल. बिकॉज ऑफ स्मार्टफोन्स रील्स बन रहे हैं एंड ऑल, ठीक है, एंड ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ पीपल. ये भगवान हम लोग ये रोक नहीं सकते. श्री माता जी सेड यू कैनॉट ऑर्गेनाइज ट्रुथ, you cannot organize God, understood. But as Sahaj Yogis who have had a taste of the corporate world, and we know what, see, we have, in order to actually bring about the paradigm shift in the world psychology, collective psych, we have to hit the think tank of the corporate sector and the government sector of all the nations. With due respect to primary school children and krishi farmers, ठीक है, we have been there, but how many come for more? See, right now बहुत एफर्ट्स होते हैं. आई सी दैट, क्योंकि मैं आई एम अ मीम मेकिंग एंड छोटा छोटा रील मेकिंग एक्सपर्ट. तो मैंने बहुत लोगों को बोल रखा है कि कोई भी मीम का जरूरत हो मुझे मुझे फोन कर दो, कैनवा आता है, मुझे कर दूंगी मैं. सो आई सी ट्रिमेंडस एफर्ट्स ऑफ पीपल. बट वेन दे सिट फॉर अ मीटिंग एंड दे से हम लोग यहाँ पे गए, 25 टीचर्स थे, 500 स्टूडेंट, 5000 स्टूडेंट, 100 टीचर्स. I just asked one question ki how many came back asking for more? नहीं नहीं, वो श्रीमाता जी देखी, सी द क्लिशेड आंसर इज वो तो श्रीमाता जी देखेगी। बोले कि भैया अगर श्रीमाता जी को ही देखना था तो व्हाई इवन टेक द फर्स्ट स्टेप, छोड़ दो। Because if you are doing a funnel, if you are doing a marketing and if you are forming a funnel, you know, Sri Mataji during her 80s only she had told कि when a person comes, take their phone numbers, talk to them, follow up, ask them, encourage them to come. ये श्री माता जी के जमाने में मदर बोलकर गई थी कि what is follow up, what follow up are we doing? And honestly speaking, wherever I have been, वो बहुत मैकेनिकल करते हैं वो लोग। People just start with this. We are hello, hello, hello. Look at Shimataji's picture. यहाँ से ऐसे हाथ करिए, ऐसे हाथ करिए। See, if I had been a non-Sahajogi and I've been just a seeker, मैं कोई बंदा या बंदी आकर बोल रही है एक in a big hall and I'm a college student, 18 years old, कि okay, 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 people, open your hands. क्यों खोलो मैं hands अपने? Why? So how you present also is quite topsy-turvy. ऐसे बोलना नहीं चाहिए मेरे को। लेकिन मदर हैज ऑल्सो सेड ना कि आप गुरु हैं तो आपको क्रिएटिव होना होगा अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में कि स्टूडेंट्स आपके पास आए। तो वन ऑफ द वेज इनफैक्ट व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू एक्चुअली डू इज द गुरु तत्व को हम सामने ला रहे हैं कि बॉस दिस इज द ट्रुथ वी आर शोइंग, पीपल हैव एक्चुअली इन दिस वर्ल्ड लिविंग राइट नाउ हैव बेनिफिटेड फ्रॉम दिस। ये बताना है हमें अपने मूवीज के जरिए। इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क।
Right.
So great, Aparna. That's inspirational words. And so we are at it, and let's make a beginning. I now put the ball into the US court. कि आप अगर वहां से कुछ शुरुआत करते हैं तो हम लोग यहाँ शुरुआत कर चुके हैं, and we need to form an entity at your end which can give us financial support, and we will give you the project wise projections on episode wise. That Aparna will work with her team while she's writing the stories and all right, but you have to start working on creation of at least a good trailer plus one or two episodes that are going to be stellar, basically, as you said, that will move the whole process of projection, marketing, exhibition, and we have people who take up this project to show it, because at the end of the day we are making it that it should be visible in the OTT platforms. So so ये सारा एक्चुअली सर एक अमेलगमेटेड खर्चा होता है कि साइड बाय साइड वी आर सर्चिंग, साइड बाय साइड वी आर मेकिंग and also writing, and we will need a continuous flow of funds as and when they are requested. We will have to make a request to you, we will make a sort of a projection, and the way it is to be invoiced and all, I think Tejwani ji can help us in the due process as our legal expert. So we need to sign up, make some contracts, as he said, between the intellectual creation at my end, the legal and the formation part at Tejwani ji's end, and the creative part at Aparna's end for production through your US entity which you float. जो भी आप start करते हैं, I think उसको अब आप, we should have some way to go ahead with that, and then we should continue to talk if necessary how things are progressing at both levels, so that you are informed how much we have gone ahead, and we are knowing when the funds will be ready to, so that we know our start date. Am I right, sir? Am I right, Subhash ji, Tejwani ji?
Right, sir. I'm just putting a ballpark figure, sir, for everyone just to start. I think
Yeah.
if you're just like the first project, if you take the 10 incarnations, if you are saying there are 12 episodes, I think it's cost about 700K in US dollars, with the estimate of 50 lakhs, which is 55,000 USD here. So I'm just giving a rough this thing idea. In Tri-State, the whole collection for the VND is 70,000 in a year. I think we are talking at the same pace that as they are doing their collection in a Tri-State area for all the activities there, I think they are able to get around 70K. This should be at that level, at least to get uh, uh, 2 episodes. Yeah, I think between episode to episode, you say 2-3 months, sir. for each making?
Yes, approximately.
Okay,
Yes.
so 6 months. So within 6 months, yeah, I think, yeah, uh, yeah, that's what I think 100K is what we are expecting, and I think we need to scale just to for team to understand in USA what we are trying to do. Okay, yeah.
There have been a couple of donors who supported my films from other parts of the world other than the US.
Mm-hmm.
They are more keen to know where they should send the money because I tell them do not send it to me anymore because it get taxed here very badly. And when they send it directly to my name,
Right.
that's another thing I want to avoid completely. It happened in the early stages, but that's how everything happens in the early stages. But now, as we progress, I could ask them to also align their donations to your entity over there. So you will probably get from Australia, from Europe, and from UK. There are some donors that may also contribute. तो आपको उधर से भी मतलब आने लग जाएगा. Once your entity is floated and we have the proper messages in place, then we can let them know that you can send your funds there because from वहां से वो ट्रांसफर हो जाएंगे एक ही जगह पे.
Right.
Am I right, Tejwani ji? Is that possible?
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So uh, we've showed the idea here among the whatever people who are joining this call, and I think Vibha Didi also, and then we'll come forth. We'll find out a CA who can assist us. Anything which you want to say, sir? What will be the name, or what is there anything which from your side you want to recommend us to go with what name and other stuff? And once we file that, and once I think creating is a online, I think so. I'm not done it, so let me see how things are. Forming is not a part, and I think we can go to Kindful or any other services which they allow us to create this donation link, and people can submit online to get the funds centralized. And from there, I think they charge 1 or 2% or some percentage wise, and from there it can be transferred into bank and
So,
all
yeah.
those things.
So, Tejwani ji, I'm going to take your advice. The name that is now going in the rounds for films, Sahaj Yoga Films, is IIHF. And of course, my personal name gets keep mentioned with it. It's okay, but I'm more keen that my name should get removed from there. It should be IIHF. And if IIHF sort of can go for the same in the US, it doesn't have to be the same words. It can mean Immaculate Films or Immaculate Ideal Human Films. So whether you need to keep the word foundation, it's just a suggestion. It doesn't have to be. If Tajwani ji feels it's not necessary, we can just do what is most practical to be done. Tajwani ji, over to you.
No, I fully agree. And Immaculate is what Trimataji has also been. It is actually one of our names as well, if you
Yeah.
talk in a holistic way. So Immaculate is something related to Sahaj Yoga. And yeah, otherwise, name could be anything. And if the word immaculate is there, it is Sahaj actually. Immaculate means the Sahaj. So otherwise, name could be anything. Yeah.
So
And
we
the
leave
biggest
that to you.
biggest advantage, Sanjay ji, here is if say somebody contributes an X amount of money, a lot of companies have programs that they will do a matching contribution if you are contributing to a non-profit.
Okay.
For example, the company I work for, Intercontinental Exchange, they will do, if I contribute $5,000, the company will contribute $5,000.
Wow.
Yep. The matching programs are corporate wise, and they allow
Yeah.
us. Yes.
That's
Right.
perfect.
So that will immensely help with this initiative. We just have to, I think, get the ball rolling, get the non-profit set up. We can discuss the name on the chat and finalize on that. And we can, Subhash Bhai is very resourceful. He knows a lot of people. So we can have an internal meeting within this group in the US, and we can figure out who can be the people, from the CA, who can be the, who can handle this here. and then we can get this set up and then get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I'll recommend one person to you from this group who has not spoken a word, but she has commissioned this meeting, and that is Chen's sister. Chen's sister has actually half produced Mahalakshmi Path, for your knowledge. She has contributed 1 CR alone, solo. So, as far as, and then she's just a small working lady, and she's not very big in any format of, as you call people, big in that way. She's very humble, and very sweet, and I think very good with money management. I would trust her with a lot of money. I know that she has given her everything for this movie and how she manages her own home, because she says, Sanjay Bhaiya, if you can do it, then let me do my bit. So if we have these kind of people with us, we are very blessed. So please do involve her in any manner where you need somebody in control of managing the funds. I would recommend her name. Jai Shri Mata Di.
Actually, uncle, I don't know if I really good at managing money. I never really do the good calculation of the money part. I don't know. Yeah, Shrimataji just be the time. She always send the money whenever you need, whenever I need. So I mean, I really not
So
plans
when I was
everything.
making the movie, Chen, when I was making the movie, I was putting all my, putting on my tweets. Okay, we need this much fund now. We are in this stage of the movie. Please help. So those are the ways we were getting our funds. But I asked you, Chen, how come you thought of giving me so much money? And you said Sri Mataji told me so. I remember that. It's interesting. That's amazing too. Thank you.
You're welcome, uncle. Yeah, Shrimataji.
God bless you. And God bless all of you for being part of this whole conversation. आप लोग please, I would recommend that you also can have a local meeting, and if you want me there, I can be part just to observe if there's anything you need out of me, give you inputs. But I'm always available at all times, and because in India I'm in the process of winding up this NGO. Whether it needs to be wound up immediately or maybe after a year, that we'll have to figure out, because right now we are negotiating a very big deal for both our films with the Indian government, which is the Information Broadcasting Ministry. They are in the process of looking at our films and seeing how that can be utilized through their entire India and world network through a new OTT platform called Waves. So if Mother's Grace is really going to work, both these films, if they get entry into Waves, we probably will get our series entry also into the Waves straight away. So let's give a bandhan and let's pray that over the next few months, if this can happen, by April, we could have some results.
Wonderful.
Jai Shri Mataji.
So I think let's end with the Mahamantras.
Yeah.
Sanjay ji. Yeah.
Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrar Swamini Moksha Pradaini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. बोलो श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी
निर्मला
की
देवी की
जय। Jai Shri Mataji. Thank you, everybody. And let's keep in touch. As and when you want the next meeting, do send a message in the group. We have a group now.
We have
And
a
we shall.
WhatsApp group.
Yes, I'll add you, Aparna. Yes, I'll
Okay.
add you in this group. You were not in this group. I'll add you. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank you, Chen. You can end the meeting now. Thank you,
Alright.
Subhash
Jai
ji.
Shri
Thank you,
Mataji.
Ajit
Jai Shri
Bhai.
Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tejwani sir. God bless. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri
Jai Shri
Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Malabika.